All right, Justin. Oh, good. Justin's here. All right. You want to bring them in, Rob? Are they already in here?
Yep. Let me, I'll start bringing them in. Let me go to the participants. There's Jen, FP Smith, Justin Casey, Chrissy Jones, David Isbin, Petra Greer, Alina Bosch, Kelly, and Catherine. So it's Chanel probably. So admitting all.
Cool.
And everybody should be in now. If we just ask everybody for housekeeping to just make sure you keep your mics muted. The initial part of the board meeting is for the board members to discuss business, and then at some point, I'm sure they'll open it up to the floor. So there you go. You're good to go, man.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. This is Boyce Elliott, current sitting president for the Almond Glen Homeowners Association board. We're going to go through the items that we have on the agenda. There's quite a few, and we'll go through them as quick as we can while still being respectful to the issues. And then if we have time, we're going to try not to push this past 9, and we'll open the floor up for everybody. Okay, now I can't wait to hear Eric's reserve study thing. All right, Eric, what's going on with the reserve study?
I mean, there's not too much to it. I've already emailed the board group all the issues from the initial one. The lady, I wasn't super impressed with her when I first talked to her. I was even less impressed with her when I met with her. And then of course she sent us a report with a bunch of errors in it. So she didn't, her and the company, because I CC'd the company that sent out the billing and everything a couple days ago, and no one responded. I sent them the other one this morning. No one responded. So I called her around 4:30 on her private cell. She answered and acted like she already sent it. And I was like, no, you've gotten 2 emails about issues with it that needed to be corrected. And so she's like, oh, well, I'll have to try to fit it in my schedule over the next week or 2. So I don't know when the hell we're going to get the final one, but the one they sent was messed up, so we can't use it. They didn't split the, I think it was back in 2021. We took some of the townhome specific expenses and turned them into common expenses because it was unfairly assigned to the townhomes by the initial reserve study. And it was things like asphalt in the road in the townhome areas because theirs is owned by the HOA, and then the rest of the neighborhood, the single family houses, is all owned by the county. So that was one of the things. There were, I think, 5 or 6 line items that we either moved to common or split the percentages to move it into common. So those weren't corrected. And then she put everything at 2%, which I guess we can leave at 2% interest, but that's something we could always adjust on the back end. But the main thing was switching those things. And they also had the privacy fences as a townhome expense that was putting an extra strain on the townhomes that doesn't exist because the individual townhome owners are responsible for it. So essentially they were saying that the townhomes needed like $1 million some that they didn't actually need. So we're waiting for that to get fixed. So we'll have a better breakdown and know what to do going forward. So
Cool.
Not a lot of great information other than they have to fix it.
Well, it's a good update because we were paying for it, right? And you can see it on the budget, it's a line item, and it's just good for everybody to know where that's at. And then, did you say $1 million in reserve for townhomes?
Yeah, because they had all of the asphalt and sidewalks in the area assigned to townhomes, and we assigned that to common, except for the individual parking spaces back in like 2021.
Okay. So anybody that's listening about the reserve study, we don't have it finalized yet. That's a lot of money to have in reserve just for the townhomes, and we don't need to do that. So probably on the next board meeting in July, we'll have hopefully have that finalized for everyone. All right, so our next item, we have visitor parking issue at the townhomes. It is similar to the pool parking lot issue that we had. We finally found the person at the pool parking lot, was able to get him to move amicably and didn't have to tell anybody. So that was good. At the townhomes in the back, there's 5 or 6 visitor spots, 2 cars. I actually drove it this weekend and saw they were still there. And so for the board members that are listening to me now, are you okay with me doing the same thing that I did at the pool and just write a handwritten note asking politely to, call us, to move, do something, whatever it was I did last time, in an attempt to get them to move without having to pay for signs, get them towed, that kind of thing. Are you okay with me doing that?
Most of those cars aren't gonna move. There's townhome owners that have more than 2 cars that have been parking in visitor spots for 10+ years. So if you're gonna go down that rabbit hole, you're gonna have to put up signs. You're gonna have to tow people's cars that they've had there for several years. Because that's the only way you're gonna get the people out of the visitor spots.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where some signs at each of the entrance points going into those parking lots right there at the corners of those parking lots, advising people, hey, you are subject to tow, that kind of thing. I mean, you can always decide as time goes by if it's, you talk with the attorneys and make a decision about going ahead and moving to some form of enforcement on that. And that could be a small placard sign that can be added below that at a later point that says, hey, this is where you've been towed to. But I think at minimum, you start getting the awareness up. A lot of people they don't pay attention to these meetings. They don't read the website stuff. They don't read the Facebook stuff. A lot of people are transient through there as far as, they rent for a year or two. But I'm at the point where I think some signage going into the pool, like we talked about, and at the townhomes would probably be beneficial.
Okay. I am out unless Eric, Justin, you guys want to weigh in on this? Eric, wow, sorry, Justin and Virginia, you guys want to weigh in on this? What are your opinions?
No, it's time.
This time, okay.
Yeah, we've been arguing
All right.
and fussing with people about cars and parking spaces, and pool is open now and people need their parking space to get in the pool, and we don't need visitor parking in the pool parking lot. We already don't have enough space for people to park for pooling, at the pool, so we don't need extra cars there.
Okay. All right, we'll work on signs then. That'll be the decision. And Rob's right. I've looked into how to do the towing thing. We have to have a relationship with a towing company, but that can be added underneath the parking sign pretty easily later. So we won't do that initially. We'll just do something polite and fairly good looking at those visitor areas to try to get them to move. Just for anybody listening to me talk right now, as long as I am here, it will take quite a bit for me to tow somebody because I know those fees rack up every day. Really hesitant to do it if I don't have to. So signs politely asking to move, notes on the window, that's fine. Trying to be as amicable as I can without having them rack up $30, $40, $50 a day in storage fees while their car is towed. So that's my complication there.
Those signs are gonna cost $1,500 to $2,000 based on what we get charged for 2 people to show up here and put in signs. So we need to have a board vote on it where you guys vote for it, because I'm not gonna vote to put in signs for that amount of money.
I mean, it's a sign, right? I mean, I could dig a hole and put some concrete in there and place a
We
sign.
can have
What's wrong
our
with
own
that?
signs made. They don't cost that. We do it at the church. You can have your own signs made. Fast signs make them all the time.
If you have someone that wants to make and install the signs that can get covered and paid by the HOA, that's fine. But if we have AMG do it, it's going to be at least $1,500. It was $500, and they gave us a deal on the poles. They didn't charge us for them because he had them already. Tim had them already.
Mm.
$200 just to show up, not to do like less than an hour of work.
No.
I'll agree that
Put
15
like 4 signs, and they got to do the concrete with 2 men. You're going to be $1,500 to $2,000 to put these signs in.
All right, let me.
I think we could probably figure it out cheaper than that, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
can.
I agree. Sometimes it's a matter of convenience where you're like, hey, we need to have this thing done. Let's go ahead and get somebody to do it. AMG's got the staff ready to go. But I think something like, and we'd have to look at how many signs we have to put in. You need one going into each of the parking lot entrances, at least I feel like. And then the parking lot at the pool. I think that's something we get together, we figure it out, and we, some guys can go up, put some signs in real quick, get a couple of people to attach the screws. It's not that big a deal. But I agree. I don't think we should go crazy with the cost on it, but I think it's time to go ahead and get something figured out and get it done.
And then later on, with the adding, if it gets bad, adding the towing, whatever, usually the apartment complexes or HOAs, they get one towing company, and then they use them, and then they put their number permanently on the signs and be done with that. If that's
Hopefully it doesn't come to that. All right, so not $1,500, but it still needs to get done. All right.
It's
That's
definitely
what we'll
coming to
do.
that. If you're putting the signs, you might as well go find a towing company. I think you're gonna end up.
I hope not, man. I don't, because I'll be making the call to them. I'm towing your car, and I'm sorry, I'll have to listen to them cry because their car is getting towed away. I don't want to do that. I will if I have to, but I really, really don't want to do that. I'd like to try to be amicable first if I can.
Well, this is for a forever thing. This isn't a for 2 months thing. So someone else is going to be responsible for towing after that.
I know. I don't want to pass the buck though. I just, let's see if we can do it amicably first. Adding the towing part is just, Rob's right. You drill 2 holes, you bolt it on underneath of our current one. It looks really nice. I've seen them do that before. We can add it later. And it just goes in the same post. But good gracious, I would hate to tow somebody's car that quickly if we can just write a note in the window and get rid of it.
I agree.
Who wants
all
to be
right.
in charge of these signs?
Do what?
Who wants to be in charge of getting?
Unless Virginia, you've already got a relationship and it's easier for you. I mean, I can start calling people that make signs, but if you've got a relationship with somebody, please feel free.
Yeah, I got an email. I use fast signs for my business sometimes. So let me see what they say on a quote on it.
Sweet. Thank you.
And so, yeah, so just, can you email me that reminder? 'Cause that's
Is
where I
tech work?
live right now is on emails. I'll get a quote this week. And
Sign.
I'll CC everybody on it. So when they quote us, everybody will get it at the same time.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Wood fence. Oh, one of our townhomes has a wood fence. Where's the, I got to bring up the email.
No, it's the one that we had installed by Harrisburg Road. It's just done. We did it in March. If anybody,
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We didn't announce that it was completed, did we? You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was a length, I don't know, a couple 100 feet of wood fence along Harrisburg Road behind the townhomes that was dilapidated. That's been replaced. It took 2 days. They got it done. They did the shadow box, pretty much the same thing that we had there before, but now it's new. And that was done, I think it was early last month, something like that. But we also have the townhome at the fence of the townhome to talk about. Let me bring up the emails. There they are. No.
we'll need to actually. Can we do the landscape update if Virginia has one or need pool update? Then we can do those. Ask because there's 2 different ones that we have to do, and we'll need the residents on there too. Because we can knock out the other updates in a couple minutes and be done with everything else.
I'm good with it. Virginia, you ready?
I don't know if she even has anything. I mean, it seems like they've been doing it. Except
Oh, yeah.
last week.
Spring flowers are coming up. As y'all noticed, I don't know if nobody noticed that we didn't get pine straw for the fall. So that saved us some money because they did not put any out. So Ashley, we should not have received a bill for that.
I will make sure. I have not seen one, but I will look real quick.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So
Was that an oversight, Virginia? I wondered whatever happened. The timing usually was right before Christmas.
That was an oversight for them. Because it was supposed to everything was listed for I did the complete walk, everything was listed, what needed to go out, what time of the year it needed to go out, and they oversighted it. And since they did it, I was like, okay, well, that's gonna be less. No, we didn't have any complaints or anything. They did such a good job, though. I have to give it to them. They did such a good job on the first. It kind of pulled us all the way through the winter. So we do need to refresh for spring. So I have got that. Haven't gotten their order in yet. I have to get with Eric to make sure that we're I know it's in our contract, but I think it's extra. So
it's part of the budgeted expenses though, and especially if they missed it. Yeah. So you just got to move forward with that.
And so we got that, and we have the flowers coming out, and sprinkler systems still have to get the guys out here to the landscaping department is going to check them, and then we know we have major repairs that have to be done. So that's gonna be done by, I think, Robert, didn't we say we were gonna use the company we used last time?
Yeah, Rainmaker, Charlotte,
Yes.
they did a good job. They handled it quickly, and they're not the cheapest out there, but they do some of the best work that we could find in the area. They were great the last time, so it was an easy go.
So
Humor,
we've
do you know?
already, I've got in my email, I have not had a chance to pull it, but they did do an audit of the land scaping. And so I will have all the major things that will be done. And so that will be done in our July. But those things will probably be already done by the time July gets here. But we do have some things that we are working on. That's not going to cost us extra. It's just going to be, this is what normal maintenance and treatments that we usually have during the summertime on top of the sprinklers. So the only fees that we should have is the flowers, the pine needles, and some heads on the sprinkle system. So that's all we have coming up now for this summer. And
Cool.
we don't have to worry about ants because we got a totally concreted pool this year. But we'll probably have to spray for ants around the pool and spray for ants in the townhomes areas.
Cool deal.
That's it. We're done.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. Landscape, vending machine. Rob, is there any update to the pool you want to provide? I know it's not on the agenda, but we usually do that. Is there anything other than, it's open that you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's open. The dates and times and all that are posted up. The pool fobs are active. We'll figure out about pool fobs, getting them issued out. I got a couple of requests through email. I'm telling everybody just email us, and then we'll probably just tell them make payment to AMG, and I'll get it issued out to them. And then as far as the status of the pool, there were no issues noted except for it's a problem, but it is what it is. They're gonna have to put a diver in the pool. We still got a main drain leak of some sort. They can't figure out why it's leaking back through there, but it's something that they're aware of. They're gonna get a diver in the pool, so that'll be at a cost at some point. But my exact wording was, we've got the money for it. It's part of what we need to make sure works. So go ahead and get it done. Just send me the information when you're ready to do it. So anything that comes up like that, I'll just let you guys know that, hey, they've got this expense, we got that thing going. But as of right now, knock on wood, everything looks like it's running fine. DHEC had no issues on their first check, and we got our license, and we were able to get the pool open when we did. And that really was that last week right before I was able to announce. I mean, it was right up to the day of, I think, Friday afternoon. I was talking with him, and he was saying, yeah, they had kind of screwed up. They were planning to open up the pool that weekend for us, and then got mixed up because nobody else opens up that early. Really, they've got a few pools here and there that do, but since we don't have attendance and stuff, it's a little easier. But then they had to kind of shuffle things around. They had kind of a mad dash to get it ready. So yeah, looked like it got used this weekend. People were out there, still a little bit cool water. That's about it.
The tops of the mushroom things, I heard I saw in the text that we're going to have that painted at some point. What's the plan there?
Talking about the mushrooms needing to be
the waterfall things
painted again.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
We can have them. Yeah, so we have those over the years. We've had those repainted every couple of years. I mean, we can have them repainted. We need to have the pergola redone. We need to have those repainted. It's kind of just a toss up. Is do you want to spend the money to have it done at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season? In the past, it seems to work out to have it done at the end of the season. So, I mean, when the water's running, they look fine. When they're sitting there with the water off, they start to get a little dried out. Functionally, they're fine. It's just how they look. So we can have them repainted at the end of the season. There's no sense in stopping operation of the pool or delaying an opening for those to be done. I think at the same time, probably this fall, the board will want to look at having the bathrooms repainted at least. I don't think the exterior is looking bad, but we'll have to check the exterior. Have the bathrooms redone and then have the pergola redone and have the mushrooms done. You can get that all done at the same time. So that'd be the easiest way to do that.
Cool deal. And that question was for anybody listening and anybody that's listening to the recording, because I know that question is going to come up. So there's the update on the mushrooms and the painting and such. Speaking of the pool, we do have I guess it's a decision that we have to make. We've been asked, and Rob, you said it's been asked a couple times over the years. It was asked recently if somebody wants to put a vending machine out at the pool. Typically, you can either do a percentage of the income from the vending machine, or we can rent the space for a vending machine. It sounded like everybody liked the renting the space idea. I don't even really know what to charge. The number that's in my head is $125 a month to put a machine out there during the summer. What's the thought in the group for that?
I've looked at the issue before, so I'll throw this out. I think they should have to do all the liability research and everything and bring it to us. That's generally what's happened is people will say, hey, can we do it? And I'm like, yeah. And I put it to them. You have to research it and bring it to us and explain it, because I don't know what the liability that goes along with that is. Is there a liability? Is it no big deal? What if the machine falls over on somebody?
Yeah.
You know, that it's just, so personally, I've always been like, you go out and figure it out and we'll talk with you about it. And that's usually the end of the interest. We don't desperately need a vending machine up there. So I don't see why we would go to the trouble to figure it out, I guess. It's not going to do anything for us. It's a benefit to them.
So I know there's an insurance policy that has to be taken on it, like you said, in case it falls or electric shock or something like that. I don't know how the payee of the policy works. So if anybody that's listening to this call has an interest in doing that, I guess talk to me and let's see what that would look like, what the insurance policies look like, and I'll work with you and see what level of coverage you need to have, what the cost is, and then we'll have this conversation again regarding the rent of the space. I'm drawing on Rob and Eric's and Virginia's experience with no one has ever taken us up on this offer, so I'm assuming that's going to continue. If it doesn't, then we will go down the road of what's it going to cost to put the machine there if you are going to secure all the insurance and take care of all of that. So I'll just leave it there. Somebody else has something to add.
I don't think that an arbitrary number for a rental even makes sense, because we don't know what the electricity usage is, or if it's going to cause more of a mess that tenants have to clean up, and maybe we get charged extra because there's more crap laying around everywhere. A lot of other issues that are going to go into it. So I don't think we can ever set a flat, hey, it's going to be $100, $200 to put a vending machine there until we know all the issues that are going to go into it and where it's going to be located.
Fair enough. So if anybody's interested, let's go through the safety aspect and logistics of getting it out there. Then we'll deal with what it looks like when it's there at that time, if you want to go that far with it. All right, I think that's all of our shop stuff. Do you want to switch over to, we have some architectural reviews that we got to talk about? Yeah. Anybody else want to talk about something before we switch to that?
Hey, Boyce, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Hi, just to introduce myself. My name is Justin Casey. I live in one of the townhomes, and I think one of my architectural reviews is actually on the docket next. But before we move on to that, just a question about the vending machine. What kind of vending machine would you like to consider? Is it snacks or drink or both?
Snacks we allow at the pool. Drinks, I know we don't allow glass at the pool. Aluminum cans we can do. Rob, yeah, aluminum cans are fine.
Yeah.
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 So,
yeah, those are fine.
So either one is fine as long as it doesn't distribute glass. And again, we can't have people making a mess all the time. But that's the only restriction I would think. And the other thing I would say to consider is it's going to be outside. And if you have something that has chocolate in it, or you have something with drinks in it, I don't know what refrigeration looks like, but these things are in 90 to 100 degree heat during the summer. So just keep that in mind if you're going to try to put one out there. And to Eric's point, there's the electric bill that we have to consider as well.
Yeah, the company I work for is actually a beverage distributor, Coca-Cola Consolidated Inc. They will place the vending machine for free with a beverage purchase agreement. So you kind of sell through the beverages, use the machine as a sell through for the beverages. So that it's just a consideration, but they take care of the install, the cleanup, and there's no rental fee on the equipment. And if anything breaks, you just call the EQS equipment services is what EQS stands for, tech line. And anyway, but if you're interested in that and you want Coke products available at the side of the pool, have the number to call.
Cool deal. Just in case is the man. Got it.
Thank you.
And actually, yes, you were the one that I was going to bring up here. So I've got the picture of what you want to do. And I know that we have an issue that's brought up with two pieces. One, the stone walkway that you're asking for, and this is for the board as well, just as a reminder, the stone walkway is going to be
Which address is it?
8984 Lenart. Is that right?
Yes.
8984 Lenart. This is the one that has the fence outside the property line. So we have the stone walkway that's along the side that you're requesting, but we've also got one of the bigger issues is we've got an existing fence that is outside the townhome owner's property line. We've got it extending over to the common area for the HOA, something that it belongs to the community. And your basic request is to run the stone walkway out to the entrance of the fence, and then you want to replace, is it a portion or the entire white vinyl fence?
So, okay, great. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak to that. Just a little background, I've only lived here since January. I'm learning. This is my first HOA meeting, and I'm really enjoying the community so far. So I can make it a little simpler. The extension of the concrete walkway for the side entry of the home to the back of the fence is pretty much no longer an issue. I changed my mind on the design of it, and once I realized it was Ashley Ramacher, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but she told me that this would be an issue, and I got a couple of people just out here to give me quotes, and it was too expensive to get the walkway extended anyway, so that's no longer a point of approval, I suppose. I'd really just like to get the interior of the fence redone. And then as far as changing of the fence is totally fine, intact. So that was never. I was gonna replace the door at some point, but I just bought some flex tape at Home Depot and taped over the little holes in the plastic, so that's not a problem anymore either. So the fence is totally intact, and the extension of the walkway from the side entry of my home to the fence is no longer I'm no longer seeking approval for that.
So you're good?
Well, in your email, there was the question of the fence is technically currently in some of the common space.
Yes. So the discussion was if we're going to have a modification of the fence, is it going to be a consideration to enforcing the lines of the property for your townhouse? We had kind of a split decision on that one, but knowing that you're not trying to do anything with the fence, you're not doing anything with the walkway, you said you're leaving the fence alone, right? That's the plan?
Yeah. Well, my understanding from the email, maybe I misunderstood, was that the fence itself extended beyond the existing property line of the townhome.
Rob, can you just pull up the email and do a screen share? Or I guess, do I have the ability to screen share? No, I'm just
We do this.
That's funny. No.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. There you
No.
Yeah. That's my drawing in MS Paint of a little red circle around the. Yeah, I can do host has disabled participant screen sharing. Okay, but anyway,
I don't know why it does that either. I can't turn on the ability for you to screen share for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's fine. Probably better in most cases, but so I guess to revise my architectural request, and it's really just I want to kill all the grass within the interior of the fence and replace it with hardscaping, replace it with a hardscaped patio. Just some pavers, some concrete pavers on the interior of the fence. So no modifications to the exterior of the fence, still nice white plastic vinyl fence. And no extension of the concrete walkway at all. So that's my view.
On the inside, which would include.
Rob, I just forwarded you the image from the Lancaster GIS-Q system. If you can just share that. I guess no one ever sent it to me, but I asked it to be sent to him a couple of times. So you're asking to pave HOA property that someone before you fenced in as your backyard when it's technically not your property. So that's the issue that I'm having. with-
Right, right, and yeah. So that was the confusing point, and for me, because now I actually, just as a homeowner, want to know, where does my property line start and stop? Because in the backyard, one of the things, especially when buying the home, I thought, oh, this is nice, beautiful, big backyard. And now I'm learning, through the geological survey, which I haven't seen this one. The results of that it's not even my backyard entirely. So, but I wish I could screen share, because it would be easier to show you kind of what it looks like. Taking a picture of it, but essentially, I'll try to describe it. If you're familiar with, when you come into the neighborhood through the Caprington entrance, not the Almond Glen entrance, but essentially the townhome entrance. You take a left, your first left, and that's take another left, and that's Lanark Lane, where I live, and there is a nice, big, beautiful field of common space that I think there's one kid in the property who rides his dirt bike around on it, and I personally have I can screen share now. Can I screen share? Share screen. No.
I think it's letting me.
There you
This
go.
is what Eric was trying to get me to pull up for
Yeah,
you.
that's the one from the county
Yeah.
website. The lines are normally pretty darn close to where
Oh yeah.
a little off. You need a survey.
Okay. Yeah. So I can speak to that, and I'll try to be brief here. So you see the common space. Oh wait, where'd that go?
Sorry, that's my fault.
Oh, no,
There we
no
go.
problem. No problem. Can you scroll back just a little bit to the left? Yep. There you go. Exactly. That's a perfect zoom there. So if you see somebody walking like kind of down Lanark Lane, and I guess the question is, should somebody want to enjoy that common space? It's already fenced in. So if we were to like remove that little triangle piece of the yard and put a fence there, I don't think it would add any benefit to the individuals who are using the common space currently, because that land is actually quite sloped, and you can see there's kind of wilderness beyond it. So nobody uses that side space currently, because especially my concrete walkway to the side entry of the home kind of makes it feel very private. So if somebody certainly could use that space to throw the football around or anything, but they wouldn't want to, because it feels like you're going up to somebody's property. And there's also the big beautiful green space up right along Harrisburg Road that's right next to there, if you really do want some green space to play around in. And it is currently, I definitely agree here with the geological survey and all. It's not my property here, but it's already within the fence line, so it's not being used to the benefit of anyone else. And
I think personally, I look at it and I'm like, it's been maintained for so long, and it probably, I don't remember historically, somebody probably asked permission to do something. If I remember correctly, the back fence that comes up and then that triangle jut off, the back fence was already there from the builder, or it might have been the back fence line right there. But I remember we approved putting in the front fence across there. So I think if the board was asking like, hey, are we going to come back and tell this owner to put a fence up or modify that fence and put that space back there? I mean, I personally, I have no argument for it. It's been maintained by the people who've lived there for years. We previously approved an addition to that fence on a previous board. I think this little sliver of triangle is kind of moot, honestly. Personally, that's my thought on it.
No,
So
I'm with you. That's, as far as I'm concerned, if you're modifying the inside of it, I mean, it's existing, its fence looks good. That was my opinion as well. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm the one that actually did, when this came across the board, I'm the one that went and took all the Google Earth images and dates and sent an email, and I don't have that in front of me right now, but essentially that whole back fence and the diagonal portion coming up was put in by the developer. And then 2 homeowners ago, maybe even 3, the connection was made from the diagonal corner over to the side of the house. So that's been sitting there for 10 plus years. And I know from I used to work for a jurisdiction, and I don't know what South Carolina's regulations are, but there comes a point in time, like Rob said, if the homeowners have been maintaining it, that essentially that is no longer common area and becomes homeowner property. I do not know what South Carolina regulations are for that time frame, but I know of multiple.
That's not the law at all. You have to have adverse possession. There's not adverse possession because if they didn't knowingly take it, they thought it was.
I'm just telling you what has happened from working in other jurisdictions that I've personally witnessed, Eric. So well, I can't speak to South Carolina law. I can only speak to what I have witnessed and have witnessed other jurisdictions and municipalities handle in this situation.
Yeah, that area of the feds, you can fit one person comfortably in that.
So,
little-
I mean, it sounds like we've got Rob, me, and Justin are okay with it. That's the majority that you should need, unless I'm reading this incorrectly. If you're just hardscaping the inside, if that's all it needs to be done, the three of us are good with it. That can be the
I
end
mean,
of
is
the
there,
conversation.
is there,
Yours.
I guess, is there, and I only caught part of Eric's thought on it and everything, but is there some reason that we're adversely against? I mean, like, are we trying to reclaim this corner? Is that what you're thinking, Eric? Or are you concerned that we're setting up a precedent? Like, I'm interested in the thought process.
It's just a really bad precedent because now anybody that's along common property, which I have probably close to an acre behind me that I could just go ahead and say I'm going to fence in since nobody uses it because no one goes back there except me.
This is already fenced in though. This is already fenced in and has been
It
fenced
doesn't
in.
matter when it was there. It's a matter of whose property it is.
But
I mean, the other
it's
Yeah, I
already
think-
fenced in. I would actually say that the intended use of the property is also important because if that acre behind you is being utilized currently by people, then it provides them a benefit. But that corner of the property is not being utilized by anybody. It's not providing them any existing benefit. To fence in something that's being utilized by the common people as a common space would be to fence that in would take a benefit away from them as opposed to something that is already fenced in and has been for 10 years and is not being
You
utilized.
already have 3 people voting for it. I'm just gonna say that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter when it was done. It's done and it's not that person's property. The fact that it's been done for a while doesn't make it your property now. It was never your property. When you bought the property, you should have had a survey done. When you bought the property, it would have shown that went above the line. If they're saying they're okay with it, that's fine. The people don't use the woods behind my house. So I'm going to drop $5,000 and expand my backyard 4 times. And that's fine because that's what the board's going to allow. So that works for me too.
I think that, so the way I'm looking at it, and the original board that approved that fence, and like I said, I don't remember when it was, but I recall that the expansion there being allowed was allowed. And I don't remember if we had a specific discussion about, well, this is going to be a little bit of HOA property or not. But I think there's a reasonableness factor. I think if Eric went out there tomorrow and put a fence up around an acre of land and we sued him, I don't think you got a leg to stand on. And I don't think that legally you would bring into a South Carolina court an argument, well, if they let this guy keep, 15 feet. And I think there's a reasonableness factor. So yeah, if you've got a small jut off in a different direction, I think, that's already being occupied and it's like, hey, are we going to enforce it? I mean, I just don't. I think it just feels like a dumb argument. You know what I mean? I'm not,
Yeah.
and that's why I wanted to hear Eric's argument on it because
Yeah.
I respect his opinion. I'm like, well, hold on, he's got a different way of thinking, but I don't think it's a matter at this point.
That would, Rob, you remember a lot of people don't know, but
Rob, the
There's a
very next
special-
townhome thing we're about to vote on is the exact same thing where I'm pretty sure they want to expand their backyard and fence in property that's not theirs because they wanted to expand it. That was why we put them on here.
well,
That is a very different issue because the fence is already erected in this case and has been for 10 years.
Well, let me throw this out there too. And I'm sorry, I forget the homeowner's name. What was your name, sir?
My name is Justin Casey, actually.
Okay,
Casey.
Justin. Yeah,
My
you
name is
no,
Justin.
you had said. I'm sorry, I forgot. So
No worries.
at this point, you've made your argument. Let us argue over it for you now.
I'm
That way, you don't have
sorry.
to be the bad guy. Let us be the bad guys to argue.
No.
with each other.
Hey, I really appreciate the opportunity and I enjoyed the discussion. My dad was a lawyer and I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. That's my profession. So I love the talking points. And
Oh, you know
I'll
what?
just go
We
ahead.
need to talk. We need to talk to you about
we need to talk to
some
you,
stuff coming
Justin.
up. Then we got you at some point.
We need to talk. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me
You stay right here, Justin.
let me go on mute. Let me stop my video and I'll just sit back and listen.
Yeah, we
Thanks,
need to
guys.
talk to you
Yeah.
afterwards.
So yeah, I think
Rob.
for the board, I'm listening. I hear Eric's point of view, and I think it's a case by case on each thing. My thought on it is on this specific issue. I'm like, you know what? At some point we said yes. And I say we, I mean boards collectively said, yeah, you're fine with that right there. I don't feel like that sets up a precedent for everybody to do anything they want. His is a
No.
very specific little corner and a very specific little setup, and there was already the fence that was back there from the builder. That's my thoughts on it.
Hey, Rob. Okay, so Rob, do you remember my backyard?
Yes, with the weird metal fence.
No, the hill.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
we
hill.
we only own a certain percentage of that hill.
Mhm.
So
Well, there's been lots of. I'm trying to think. I always
Yeah,
forget
that's-
the
there-
legal term.
this
What
is
is
a
the
weird
legal term? And
neighborhood.
either Eric or Ashley, you both will remember the legal term off the top of your head. What's the legal term for when a city council or a board or whatever grants a change, like a little weird adjustment?
Variance?
A variance.
Same
Thank you.
variance?
That's the
Yes.
word. You nailed it. I always forget it. I feel like it kind of falls into the variance thing where it's, and an example has been extended to various members throughout the neighborhood who've said, hey, my yard is in this particular weird spot with this particular weird setup, and I would like to do something that's not necessarily normally allowed. And the board has looked and gone, yeah, because of where your home is and where the property is next to you that's empty or something, we're going to allow you to do something different from what would be normally allowed. And in times it's been because it's the right thing to do. Sometimes it's like, well, it's not really worth the fight. I mean, we fought with a board member years ago over a bunny hutch in his backyard. And then other times we've just said as a group, this isn't really worth causing a stir. I mean, because I think the average person in the neighborhood is going to look and go, seriously, the board wants to fight this guy over 10 feet of triangular property. It's just not worth it to me.
So Eric, if you see the back of my yard, mine is more than 10 feet.
Yeah, I
Because
pulled it
I
up.
have a
But that's
hill.
fine. I'll just fence in the side lot next to me. That's that grass that we have to pay the HOA to maintain, and I'll just fence it in and cut it myself. 'Cause that'll give me a bigger backyard. No one uses that property, so I'll just do that. Since
Well, it's kind of, it's
Just
kind
I
of
make
think
like
sure
this.
that's an emotional and an unreasonable response, Eric. And
Yeah.
you know what? Then I vote to.
no, it's not. I would like to expand my yard if we're allowed to, and there's
I would also
Use,
point
so
to
I
the
will expand my
reasonableness
yard.
argument of 1 acre is more unreasonable than 15 feet.
but it's not
The size
because
must
no
be
one uses
considered.
it. That was
The size
whole
must be
point.
considered.
Nobody uses it.
The second
Hey,
attribute is that
Justin,
the
just
size
stop
must be
talking right now.
considered.
You're not on the board. You can get on the board next year and we all quit.
I'm very sorry.
Over to the next one because the same situation. So let's do both at the
Boyce,
same time.
we
Very
can
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just engaging in the
Hey,
discussion.
they voted. Let's move on.
And we still have one more, and it's really just one more to
Yeah.
talk about. So it's 2724 Dunrobin, and to refresh everybody's memory, this is the one we have two questions. One, we have a drainage issue in the backyard where water is pooling, and the other is, can we expand the fence to accommodate a deck? And it's an interesting one to go on the heels of the conversation that we just had. I hate being in the position to have to say that, to no to both of them. We can't do anything with drainage in the yard that is within that property line. Unless I'm wrong, let me look at the picture. But unless I'm wrong, that deck can't be expanded, or the fence can't be expanded either. Although, what is that, another 5 feet? They can go 5 feet closer to Harrisburg. So I guess that they could do. Let me send the picture to you guys and see what you think. That's on the property line. That I think is okay. But the drainage issue, we can't do anything about, right?
Is this a townhome?
I sent check our chat. I just sent the screenshot of their property line. And the owner of 8984 Lanark, are you on here?
Hang on, I'll pull. You said just send it to the chat. I'll try to share my screen again.
Yeah,
And they wanna do what?
8984 is me.
Who's me?
Justin? Oh, I'm sorry. I did the
Yeah,
wrong
you're
one.
talking
Wrong one.
2724.
This is the
Thank
same
you.
one.
2724. Copy, send this over to Rob so you can have that one.
Okay, so let's make it clear. Did we say yes, yay or nay to Justin? We said yes to Justin, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so Justin's
yeah,
good.
Justin needs to, Justin, hit me up, email me off to the side. I'll tell you what you have to do, please.
Okay, so this one's what now?
I gotta look at the address. It is
2724 done, Robin.
Thank you.
Okay, so they want to do what now?
They have drainage issues in their backyard and they want to know if there's
Okay.
anything we can do about it. And the other thing is they want to expand their fence to a lot for a deck in their backyard.
They want to do what?
Just that. Want to put a deck back there. Little one
Deck where?
in the backyard.
Wait a minute. They want to expand their fence to where?
Doesn't say in the email. I'm assuming it
Virginia, it's the 2724 Dunrobin email that you can pull up I sent the pictures of it too. when
Okay, hold on.
Initially.
Let me get it to the top of your
Anyone
inbox.
from
Is
that
it-
property on here, because then you reach out.
Is my screen sharing properly now?
Yeah, you got the wrong picture on there. Yeah.
No, that's the right
No,
one.
that's the right
Yeah,
one.
that's the right one.
Okay. All right, so there you go.
Okay. Now I'm
Is that-
seeing,
is that
I'm
person
seeing
on
upside
the
down.
call?
So they want to move that fence outward further
Yes,
to the left.
yes.
And then they want to do what now?
They want to have us fix the drainage issue in the backyard. Drainage issue, we can't do anything about, right? I mean, they can install a French drain back there if they want, but that's on their property line. We can't do anything about the
Yeah,
drainage issue.
Yeah, that's not, that doesn't have anything to do with, like, if it's a drainage issue, I don't know if that's land, that's not land.
Rob, you can pull up the two pictures I sent in that email, because I took pictures of the backyard space. You can see, you can't really tell from here, but they have a lot of empty green space next to them that I'm assuming that's what they want to expand.
Yeah, but you can't, no, because.
Why can't they? That's what you did. That's what we just approved earlier. Why can't they?
We
They
didn't
can't do
approve the
that right
expansion.
there
We
because
approved.
you can't, no, it's totally different. It's a different, that's more visible than where Justin is at anyway, number one.
No, it's
Number
not. It's
two-
tucked away the same out as Justin's.
This is a totally different situation. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
One Justin's situation,
Justin's is already
the
fenced
fence was
in.
put up by the developer and a
Right.
previous owner. All they did was connect it. This is an
That's it.
existing fence that was put up by this homeowner or another homeowner, I don't know, and they're wanting to extend it. As far as I'm concerned, they get a survey done, they can extend it to the property line, and that's as far as they can go, and we don't deal with the drainage.
I'm
There you go.
sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to find the pictures that Eric had sent me
Where's
so I
their
could put
property
them up.
line at?
They're in the chat, Rob. I just sent them to you.
Hey, Rob, is that
Okay.
fence right on their property line?
I don't know. I'm trying to find the pictures. Boyce said he put them in the chat, so I'm trying to pull them up because Eric had taken the time to
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
put them. Said he took some.
So-
Yeah.
so
Okay.
how
I
is
see the ones
this
Eric put.
2724 any different than Virginia fencing an HOA property behind her house?
He bought that house.
No, I
with-
said Virginia,
There is no
not
HOA
Justin.
property behind
Virginia.
my house. There is a lake, there's a river behind my house.
That's not, the issue is whether or not you fenced an HOA property for your benefit.
There's no HOA
You
property
do.
behind my house.
No one else is using that lot. I think
It's-
if we're approving everybody else, we need to
I
approve
fenced
theirs.
in the natural property behind my house.
Okay, all right. So we have had all the opinions on the table. If
So that means
Rob,
all
you
the
wanna-
woods
I'm
behind my
saying-
house are natural property of my house because no one
all
else,
right.
it's a wooded area behind.
Okay, so I'm trying to see, okay, so how far out is that for them to come out?
From the picture, it looks like another 5 feet. I mean, I'm being arbitrary here. They'd have, like Justin said, they'd have to have a survey, but it's not far off to the left. And I agree that I initially said, no, you can't expand your fence, but their property line is right there. They have a little bit. I mean, yeah, if you want to go out to your property line,
Well,
I
if
see no
that's
reason
what
why
I'm saying,
not.
they can go out to their property line.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. What's wrong with that?
Because
Rob-
we're letting everybody else that has space expand past it. So Virginia gets.
We
past
get
it.
it. We-
I'll get to expand past it. They get to expand past it. It's not.
Eric, you've never been in my backyard.
Bad.
Rob has.
Let's let
So
them
stop
expand
talking.
it. Why wouldn't we let them expand it? I've never seen anyone. plan-
Because we have 5 members on the
We
board,
just told
we
them they can
all
expand.
vote on it, and the majority is what we do. So I think if they do a survey, I mean, obviously the drainage, unless somebody argues with me, we can't do anything about drainage.
we
If
can't
they
do
provide a
anything.
survey that says this is where my property line is. I want to bring the fence to the property line. I'm
Right.
good with it. Anybody
They can
else?
bring their fence to their property line.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
Justin, Eric, and Rob, what do you guys think? Well,
Survey
yeah.
done, they can go to the property line.
Okay.
Don't do anything with drainage. That's not on us.
That's right.
Okay, so there's the three for that one. And of course, Eric, I hear what you're saying. And Rob, do you have an opinion on this one?
No, I think they're fine to expand to their property line. Unfortunately, drainage, I don't see how the HOA can fix drainage issues. That's the way they were, unless it's something that the HOA's, it's the HOA's issue of some sort, like a common area has some sort of issue. But as far as the way the land was leveled out, and I can't think of the terminology for building a house right now. My brain's a little tired, but you know what I'm saying? As far as leveling the ground and all that kind of stuff, landscaping, or not the landscaping, but somebody help me with the word.
Grading and drainage.
Grading and drainage,
Oh.
thank you. Unless somebody handled the grading, you nailed it. Unless somebody, if there's an issue with the way the grading was done, then, I mean, it's just not something we can get in the middle of over and over and over. Sorry.
Ashley, do you need me to send an email to you for an official decision, or can you write all that up and send it over to them?
I can write it, give me the addresses and the approvals.
Okay. Where is our chat?
9 o'clock on the dot.
9 o'clock on the dot. That's right. 2724. So 2724. Cannot do anything about drainage. Expansion of fence may be approved after providing a survey. Okay, cool deal. We didn't get to talk to anybody else that's here. I can stay a little bit longer if I need to, but I'm not the only one here, and Rob's the one that's hosting. So what's your feeling on that, Rob?
No, I'll stick around for a little bit, man. You're fine.
All right, so that's our board business. And I know that was quite a bit, but the last two issues you heard us talking about, we were really split on this, and doing it through text wasn't getting it done. So we thought we would let you hear how this was all going to play out on our board meeting. But-
Boys,
in the
yeah,
chat.
there's in the chat. Do you see the chat question pop up? I thought we did see that request. It looks
Yeah.
familiar.
There's a chat on this thing, man.
Yeah, it says, do you
Yeah.
have an architectural review for 4300 Haddington? It was emailed to Ashley on April 13th. Frank and Teresa have asked to expand the driveway to encompass the entire 3-car garage instead of just a 2-car garage. I thought we looked at that one. and
We
I thought-
did. Frank, are you on here? Is Frank on here or Teresa on here?
Yeah, it looks like,
Yes, we
Yes, we are.
Yeah, they're there.
My
Oh.
gracious, I completely forgot to call you guys. Totally on me. I'm sorry. Totally on me. I meant to call you and ask you about this. Simple question. This is stupid. I should have called you. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. No problem.
So the only thing that we were wondering about, it was the typical way we do it is the driveway is expanded. Is it to, Justin, help me, is it the garage doors? It's the width of the garage doors, not the width of the garage, correct?
Correct. That's the way
Yeah.
the other
Yeah,
ones
it's,
in the-
we've allowed
So-
expansion to the width of the garage framing, so if their garage goes all the way to the end, they've been able to driveway all the way to the end. We've had people that have put on front patio expansions and extra driveways that haven't been approved and done nothing about it, so I would say just concrete whatever the hell you want, the board won't do anything about it, so go to town.
So
Really?
there's Eric's vote. Guys, can I possibly talk you into maybe keeping it the standard at the neighborhood and keeping it in line with the garage doors? Is that a possibility?
We could definitely
We
do
could do
that.
that. It's
Yeah.
just,
Okay.
you know,
We have 4 cars, so our one son is away at school.
My
He's coming back next week, so we'll
It's
have
just when
that
you
4th
have-
car.
when you have the third car in that little alcove of a driveway, you can't get it out without moving another car.
Yeah,
Give me a second. I'll make sure that I get that over to you. 4,300. And again, I'm sorry. I'm the
No,
one.
no,
that-
don't think
no,
of
no,
it. Don't
no,
worry.
really, it's fine. We've been doing a
We've
lot
We've
of
been doing
stuff,
so much
so,
stuff. so You gave us some
So-
reason.
yeah.
Approved.
yeah, I think
to-
there's multiple examples around the neighborhood. If you kind of look around, you'll see people.
Yeah,
and
we
if
saw
you
one.
just
That's
look
what
and
gave
you're
us
like,
the idea.
Yes, exactly.
yeah, well, just stay within the confines. You don't have any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, so you want the driveway to stay within the garage doors,
Garage
not,
doors, not the
not the
garage.
edge of the house.
Yeah,
You got it.
yeah, that's
Yes,
fine.
that's fine.
All right. And Ashley, if you're still on, I just replied to
And
everybody.
I'm sorry, the little slab of walkway that we wanted to add, just a little this way.
Well,
I'm
there was
get-
another one. Hang on. I don't remember that part. I remember the driveway. I don't remember
So
that.
it's
Hang
a
on.
was it.
driveway and then just adding a little bit to the
It's like a
walkway.
3
It's 3
foot by
feet by
10
10 feet.
That was the part everybody said no to because it was outside the garage and
Outside the garage.
Oh,
to the
oh,
road.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay,
but just
okay.
do it because we're not going to stop you. So do it. I'm serious. If you need the walkway, just build it.
What if I make my garage door bigger? No, I'm kidding.
No, no, no.
The board has never sued anybody to actually enforce anything. So unless you like put up a Ferris wheel in your front yard, they're not going to do anything. So,
So what,
So I'll
what-
retract that one.
Don't
That was for
there's a-
next month.
There's a first time for everything, so don't do that, Eric.
what's the ask, guys? Focus. What's the ask here?
I think
do
am
you wanna
I
finish
sharing
that?
it now? I think I'm.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got
Yeah,
it shared,
you
right?
do
Yes.
have it. So it's that 10 by 3 area, but if it's,
If it's a problem,
if
it's
it's
not
a
a big deal.
problem, it's not a big deal.
She
Well,
just didn't
is
want to
it-
get her
is it a
feet wet coming out of the car.
Is it concreted like the driveway, or is it?
No, it's
paving?
grass,
It's grass right now.
Well, what will go there? Concrete or paving
Yeah,
stones?
concrete.
Actually, there's paving
Concrete.
stones there now.
No, but it's concrete. There's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate telling people no. I would prefer that remains the way that is. And I
That's
don't
fine, that's
typically
fine.
justify my decisions, but I think you deserve one. One of the things I have to keep in mind about your house in particular is kind of the crowning jewel. I mean, when you pull into the Almond Glen, it's your
That's what you
house
said.
and it's
Yeah.
Right there.
gorgeous. And everything that you have done has been a wonderful addition, and that
Thank
kind of
you.
plays a role with how I vote on the modifications to your house. Everything looks fantastic. Everything you've done has been beautiful, and
Thank
that right there, I would prefer to not have that done. If I can talk you into that.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
You know,
Not a
the
big deal.
previous owners put these little, 12 by
The pink,
12, the pink
pink paving stones.
pavers, just, they threw them there, just not to step out into
Into
the
the
grass
grass.
on the car, but
That's
that's
fine.
okay. I'm not a prima donna.
Make my son
I
park
could
his
step
car
on the grass. Yeah, I'll make my son park there.
Somebody can back in.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
back in. That's right.
there. That's true. So I go out.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
But we'll do
Thank you all
the
so much.
the side. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Anybody else? This is for the community members that are on the call. If you have anything you want to bring up in the next few minutes while we are running over, but if you got anything, let's talk about it.
Yeah, actually, I just had a question for Virginia for US Lawns. Do you know when they're doing the shrubbery, the pruning and all that kind of stuff?
It's,
It's in the contract. I'm trying
in
to
the
think.
contract.
There's
They
a
have
certain number
the-
of times per year.
Right,
I'd
so
have to look at
what
it.
I have, yeah, I have that they do it 3 times a year.
right.
So I just want to make sure we're on track to have that. And
What's
then,
your address? Boyce, can you write this address down for me, please?
oh, I'm talking about the community.
What do you mean by the community? You talking about the town?
She's talking about where
Right.
they trim all the shrubs and stuff around the townhomes and all that. She's
Right.
talking about specifically in the area, like, do you know when the next one is? I think probably should follow up on that along with following
Right.
up on.
That's what I was just
Pine
gonna ask is when you reach out to US Lawns, could you just make sure that they're gonna do it 3 times this year? And, I think historically we've had to ask, so I don't, if we could just ask them to do it if they haven't done it this year.
Yeah, they did it right before. They've done it twice this year already.
Well, that doesn't make sense if it's 3
Hills.
times.
No, probably not this time. They haven't done it. You're
No.
thinking of last year's cut.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Virginia.
sorry, last year. Last year's cut,
Yeah.
and then they've not done one for January. I know that.
Yeah.
January,
They're
March. So-
they're
should
probably
be-
due. So I think just getting
Yeah,
a
so
date.
this is
is what-
spring. I want to say it's a winter, spring, and is it winter, summer, spring?
Yeah, you don't have to answer me now. I'm just asking, could you please
Yeah.
just check with US Lawns?
I'll, what's
and
gonna
then-
happen is we're gonna do another tour.
Yep.
So I
Okay.
will definitely go around and definitely check.
Okay, and then can you also check on the weed situation? It is 100% out of control. The contract I have says that it's to be treated 23 times a year, and I know it's not. So can you please ask that they do that part of what we're paying for?
What are they, I missed that last part. What are they
Weeds.
not doing?
The
Weeds.
weeds are like, I mean, I don't know if y'all don't walk up in the townhome section. The weeds are like out of control.
Well, they're
Did you-
they're out of control in some areas because it's just not able to reseed like they should.
Which we shouldn't even be
Yeah.
paying for because there's such a lawn issue up here. We need to like revisit that. Why are we paying to do any of that? I don't know. I know it's part of the contract, but
well-
they are not treating for weeds at all.
What's your address?
I'm at 9001 Lanark.
Leonard. Okay.
So if you could check on
Bryce,
that, that would
could you
be,
put that down
helpful.
for me, please?
Done.
Text that to me.
yeah, I mean, it's everywhere in the community. My last point is the abandoned cars. If anybody, I have reached out to the owner, of course, I'm trying to be nice as well. But there does come a time when they are blatantly disregarding the rules, as they have been for a long time. There are oil spots from the cars, so it now makes the community look worse. The tags are expired. Does anybody have any suggestions on expired car tags? I mean, I'm sure there's not insurance on these cars. It just doesn't look good for our community.
Well, we're moving in the direction to get them out of there. That was the first thing that we brought up. That was after the financial discussion. We'll get them to move. And again, I said it before and I say it again, I'll have them towed if I have to. And I will talk to the owners myself and say that I back the decision. But it will be the last thing that I do. I'll try anything that I can to get them to move without towing first. But the current the board is have the signs put up, ask them to move. I'll write a handwritten sign, put it on there, and see if we can get them to move amicably.
Well, and I appreciate that, Boyce, but you know, I've already tried reaching out, so I'm not sure they're going to listen.
That's okay.
if
Then
you're
if they
kind of-
don't, then we're going to go through the motions. If I'm going to tow someone's car and cause them to have that much of an income loss
We still
by
have to
being
go through the
storage and every
motions.
day, I'm going to try everything that I can before I do that. And that's the end of it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to.
Okay, so I just want to, because the problem's been going on long enough. And like I said, it's an eyesore that I had to stare at every day. So if you had to stare at it too, I think you would feel the same way.
The
The
reality of it is,
I live
we
right
can't
across-
just
I
tow
live
the-
right
let's-
across-
hold
That's
up.
fine.
The
That's
reality
fine.
is you can't, hold up for a second. So you just legally understand. Even if you threw a sign up tomorrow, you can't just tow somebody's car tomorrow. So that's part of it. We do have to go through a process to get it done. That is just a requirement. The other side of it is, if you tow somebody's car, you're taking on a massive liability. And since everybody likes everything out on the table, our lawyers told us not to tow cars several years ago. So we're going to have to revisit that with our attorneys, because when you tow somebody's car, they come back and sue you and say, I couldn't get to work, I lost my job, and I can't feed my family. Now you owe me. And it's a big liability for businesses. So it's on the table now. It's out there for everybody. Legally, we are in a really tough position when you're talking about towing cars. So anybody who wants to watch this video now knows we're in a real, that's a tough thing to do. But we've been
Okay.
pushing and pushing, and we're trying to get this set up, but it's something we have to go through very careful steps to get done.
Yeah,
because
And
it's
I
just not easy.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I know there's about to be a board change. So my only question is there anything else? You know, I was asked to handle the situation myself. Is the expired tags, like, is that anything that can be done legally that anybody knows anything about?
It's on, I know 100% about that. It's on private property. You'll never get the sheriff's office to come do anything about it. The state patrol, if you contact them, will come take the plates if they know they're there. They will come on private property and take
Well,
license plates
Can
off
you
cars,
give
but
me,
that's it.
can you give me, or do you know where I can get that information? I'm happy to go do that route.
Then you just go on the website and look up reporting. I think if you Google reporting expired tags, and look up the state patrol. You just notify the state patrol. They'll come out. But all you're going to do is the state patrol is going to come by and take their license plate. It doesn't change anything as
Well,
far
that's
as getting the
something.
vehicle out of there.
They're driving around with expired tags, right? So I mean, that's something. So yeah, just go
I
to the
mean-
state patrol.
I mean,
and
are they? I thought you said they stay there all the time. Are they leaving?
one
or are
car
they staying there?
one car never moves. It's not moved in
Yeah.
months. Another
Yeah.
car will move like once a week for a day at a time.
Do you know the address of where they live at?
I absolutely do, and I've given that to the board.
Oh, you have given that to?
Yes, I will re-forward you if you're not
Yeah,
on.
we've
All right.
got it, but I mean, we're not going to go knocking on their door and tell them
Yeah.
we're going to call the state patrol and have their tags taken from them. I mean, I don't think anybody on the board. I mean, I'm probably the only person that's willing to do that. I'm not going to go do that.
No, I will do that, Rob. So I'm saying if you want to pause this, I can try that route because I agree. I don't want y'all to have to do this. It's my situation. It's two cars.
The
So
vote's
I'm
already been made. We're still gonna go down the road of putting the signs up. It's already, that part of it's already done. I just emailed you the South Carolina State Highway Patrol contact information, both email and the email? Yeah, email, phone
Okay.
number, and
Well, thank you.
address.
I'll try that route. Thank you.
Yep. So if you want to go down that route, that's fine, but we are still going to go down regardless of what happens with those cars. The decision's been made to put up signs if they're still there tomorrow or if they're not, we're still going to do it. Anybody else? How far are we? 9:15. Anybody else?
When we get off, I want to talk about when everybody's off real quick. I got a situation I want to talk about real quick with the neighborhood,
Okay.
but I want it private, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question? If anything can be done, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the boys that ride the motorcycles in the grass up at the pool. I've seen them ride before on the sidewalk, but here lately I've seen them riding in the grass, which you know, when it's wet or moist or whatever, it just makes it look even worse than it already does. I don't think they should be riding in the grass, the pool area.
You're
It's
right.
illegal to ride them on the roadway. It's illegal for kids to ride them the way they are. They're not riding them legally. I don't think everybody wants to call the police on them, but if you know somebody who's got one of those things and they're riding around the road and stuff, it's illegal. They can be arrested for it. The kids can get in trouble and the parents can get in trouble. I'm with you. They don't need to be tearing around through the grass. I think we agree with that.
Yeah, I just didn't know what could be done, if anything. I saw them the other night and, you know, I didn't even know what to say or do. I mean, I don't know who their parents are. I don't know who they are.
Videotape it and put it on Facebook page. Tell them, please don't ride into, what's the name?
Hopefully,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe just talking about it here will get it out to the parents, and the parents will hear
Right.
about it and be like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize," and look into it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that would be good. 'Cause-
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Don't do that.
Oh, and they sometimes will go by my house, and when they come to the stop sign, they'll slow down. If I'm out there, I'll see if I can flag one of them down and, you know, ask politely not to ride on
I've
the.
caught one up at the top and I've asked him to not do it. So
Oh.
I do get out my car and try to like, hey, you can't do that. So
The problem you run into is if you take the time to go and talk to somebody, you got to worry that they're gonna freak out and yell because you talked to their kid or something. This is always a problem. So it's a tough thing. Like, do you try to address it yourself and have a conversation with somebody, and then they lose their mind and say that you're mean to them and you're talking to their kid, or do you call the sheriff's office on them and then they're mad because their neighbors got their little bike towed and cost them a bunch of money? It's like this. But I agree. I mean, I think riding through people's yards and stuff, or riding through the common areas, tearing up the pool grass, I'm a 1,000,000% in agreement. And I don't know why people just tell your kids don't do that. That would probably solve it. So I'm with. Was that Chrissy that was saying that?
Yeah.
I'm 100% on board with you on that. Just stop.
Yeah.
So if someone does call the sheriff, Rob, this is for you, just your opinion. Somebody does call the sheriff and he comes out here, he sees the kids. Are they really likely to arrest
They gonna
somebody?
take
Or are they
their
more
lives.
likely to go, where's your parents? Let's go talk to mom and dad and handle it amicably.
So
What are they likely to do?
Here's a real world concern with that. So the sheriff's deputy pulls up and flags the kids down, talk to them, and they take off like crazy kids and get injured or something. So there's a real thing. Or they make contact with the kids and say, hey, where are your parents? And they go down and have a conversation with the parents, and the parents are amicable. And, oh my gosh, I didn't know. We thought we could have them. The neighbor had one, so we bought one too. And it should work out. Generally speaking, most cops, in my experience, don't want to mess with juvenile issues. Now, if you're a huge jerk, they're gonna tag you absolutely with a bunch of tickets and stuff. And you know, if you remember last year, right around the time that these things started becoming popular in our neighborhood, we had a couple of them that were racing and getting in blocking the ambulance that was trying to come out here for the drowning situation we had. That was a real thing that made national news. And then right after that, we've got bikes running around our neighborhood. Generally speaking, I don't think they're bothering most people. But I mean, if the word could just spread to parents, like, hey, not everybody's cool with everybody's kids riding up and down, shooting through yards and stuff, you know, at least teach your kids to wear a helmet and stop at stop signs or something, you know, try to, you know, make it into a positive experience, and you'll probably never have a problem out of people in the neighborhood. But I would say if somebody just keeps pushing the issue, eventually people are going to get tired of it and they're going to start calling the sheriff's office, and then, yeah, fines will get levied and it'll rack up fast and they'll tow the bike. And I mean, that wouldn't be the first go-to, but yeah, that's what'll happen eventually.
So we do have some intermediary steps that we can take too. Obviously, Facebook posts, being nice about it. We've got a couple hundred people on that community, and maybe where we'll get to the parents, but we've also found that's not always the case. Something else we can do is letter distribution. You don't have to be mean about it. Just say, hey, if you've got one of these things, you're not supposed to be writing it on the road. Please stay out of the common areas, that kind of letter. We can do that. Our hesitation with doing those type of letter distributions is they're kind of expensive. We got quite a few homes. We can print letters and have volunteers go just manually put them in the mailboxes, can't we? Can we do that? I'll see why not.
Yeah, it's just again,
We-
it's an expense.
have
It's an
the-
expense that shouldn't have to be incurred if people
I know.
just be reasonable. I think there's enough people here tonight, which thank you to everybody who showed up, that you can spread the word about, hey, they were talking about this, and then let them get mad and they'll be angry, like, oh, I paid good money and why can't people mind their own business? And we live in the county. Like, okay, we don't live on a farm, so you got to figure something else out. Yeah. I don't live on a farm. I grew up on a farm.
So that's, and we've all seen the kids go around and they ride on my yard too periodically. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers others, but I see where you're coming from. And yeah, the common areas, we have to pay for those to get fixed if that ever comes. So anybody that's listening to the call, if you know who that is, just politely ask them and not ride on the grass and the mud. Let's try to keep things clean. We do have steps we outlined before or that we can go through if it gets too bad. Really don't want to call the police officers on them. I don't want to. I don't think anybody else in this call wants to either, but they are state roads. You do within your rights to do it if that's what you want to do. Not state roads, county roads. Anything else? Nice. A good turnout today. Thank you everybody for showing up. And the next time that we get together will be at our annual HOA meeting. I'm going to start sending out requests for proxies and letting everybody know how that works. You don't have to proxy a board member if you don't want to, I don't think, but we do need to make sure we've got good representation at that meeting. Last year we were a few shy and I'd rather not scramble if we can avoid it. So you'll see Facebook posts asking for that coming out soon. Nobody has anything else. We're gonna hop off here and board members, we're staying on for Virginia. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool deal. Thanks everybody for coming. Still says record.
Yeah, stand by. Give me a second. I'll clear out anybody who's still here. I'll put them in the waiting room. So I currently have on the call still me, Ashley, Boyce, Justin, Virginia, and Eric. That's just board, right?
Do you want me off, Virginia, or you want me on?
Oh, no. I'm good. It's just one quick thing. Y'all gonna just start laughing. Okay, so I've done a survey of the roads as far as in the neighborhood. And some of these potholes and stuff are starting to look really, really bad. So Rob, what do we need to do to get them to come patch?
Someone patched the one.
real
Yeah, someone
issue.
just patched the one in front of my house. Like
All
we
you
were
have to
talking
do is
about.
report it.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Who called that?
Say what now?
Someone
Somebody
passed the pothole that was right in front of my house like 2 days ago. Was that you that called that in?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, someone did.
You just report it through the normal. And again, this is just like the state trooper thing. I'm like, I don't have the phone number in front of me, but it's just the South Carolina roads, just like you report any major pothole.
That's probably what it was.
Say it again.
What'd she say?
Okay, my wife thinks that when we had the silver alert issue a couple nights ago, she thinks that one of the cops may have seen that thing out there. And
I can assure you, no cop called that
Yeah.
in.
I
promise.
maybe.
I promise you. Never,
did such
that
a
was
good
a good
job.
thought on her head. That was a good thought in her mind. But I assure you, no police officer ever has gone, I'm going to figure out how to. Notice I don't know how to report a road pothole.
Yeah, that's what
There's
how do we
there is
report?
a city.
We really need to put that on a record somewhere.
There is a city. There's a city like 4-digit number that I can dial to report like a light out and everything. I'll tell you what I do. I go, hey Central, can you advise there's a light out at this thing? And I keep driving. Like that's the best you ever get, and no pothole ever.
It was probably the guy with the construction lights on his truck with the backpack that was walking through my front yard at 2:30 in the morning, scaring the hell out of my wife.
Hey, was that one of the? Do you think was that? I saw her posting about that.
That was no
Did you
backpack.
guys?
That was Chris. Hey, Rob, that was Chris.
You think it was Chris? Please tell me it wasn't Chris. Hey, was that?
It's a
Did
running
they have the
joke in
canine?
there.
Did they have the canine team out running that
Yeah.
night? Did she?
Yeah, they
Did
did.
she call 911 when she saw it? Or
No,
did
she
see
didn't
it the
call
next
night.
day?
She saw it the next day. I was out of
Ah.
town. I saw the post at like 5 in the morning when I got up on Saturday
Yeah.
morning. And then about an hour later, I it the message from her like, what in the hell? And yeah, he came back like 3 times, and it almost looked like there was if it was a canine unit, it was probably a dog, but looked like a kid in the Ring video with his head out the window watching the guy as he was walking around. But yeah, he got out, he parked right in the middle of the street, got out, walked up into my yard, shining flashlights everywhere, then walked to my neighbor.
Oh
and-
yeah. If they were shining flashlight, it's probably narcs. They were just probably in the area helping out. If it was a silver alert and they called for everybody, that's probably why that truck looked the way it did. Because looking at that vehicle, I was like, it kind of looked maybe like a forensics vehicle, but it could have just been a cab on one of the narcotics units. But yeah, I thought the way I took her post when I read it was that that she saw it the next day, and which
Yeah, she did.
You know,
It was the
obviously
next
there's
day, but
far
she
less. Yeah,
yeah, she
you can
was
always
up
call the
watching
next
the
day
lives
and
a couple times.
Yeah, you can always call the next day and say, because I'll tell you a lot of times, like we go out looking for video from incidents, and we'll get calls from people who say, I saw something on my camera last night, a guy walking through my yard. I was just wondering, and honestly, especially if I want that video, I'll tell people a lot more about the case than I would normally. Because I might be like, oh, we were in the area looking for a person, but we got it resolved. But if it's like, a robbery or something, and I want the video, I'll be like, actually, we had a robbery in the area, and we're pretty sure you might have video of the suspect. We come get that, because we want a little this, little that, little this. But yeah, if you ever have anything happen that you guys like, even if it's live happening, you can call Lancaster County's dispatch and just say, hey, I see lots of flashing lights. I'm a little scared. I just want to make sure, I know everything's not okay because the police are here, but is there a danger? And they'll tell you there's no danger, or yeah, we're looking for a suspect, because obviously more eyeballs are better.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
what
anytime that
I
happens,
told her. That's what I told her the next morning. I said, well, you could always just call Lancaster Sheriff and non-emergency and say, hey, I saw this, I got video of it. Just want to, see if there's anything to be concerned about.
do you guys have the sheriff's office non-emergency line?
I just put it in the chat.
I've got it written down
So,
somewhere.
Okay.
Boys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the addresses to all these potholes, and then you think you can find me a number?
I've got it up on my phone. Now, the link isn't working, but it's Lancaster County.
I
Yes,
will
they've got a place
send me
to
the
report them.
link, and then I'm gonna put all those replacing repairs in there at one time.
Hey,
And
while you're at it,
once-
just put Harrisburg to Regent Parkway.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or Regent Parkway to
Let's do that.
Barberville.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Love
Regent
fun.
Parkway is half of that. The bridge to the stoplight is private property.
Not anymore.
I know
Oh,
they
no
took
way.
it over.
Yeah,
Who took
they
it
took it
over?
over. They took it over like a year
Who
ago.
took it? Did Lancaster or Fort Mills take it?
I think Lancaster took it.
Oh God, we in trouble.
Well, Fort Mill can't take it over because we live in Lancaster County. The Fort Mill would have to get their deputies to line up on their side of the bridge and our deputies, and then they'd shoot it out.
Yeah,
Anybody who talks about Fort Mills in the wrong
that's what
county.
took so long, though. They were trying to figure out which one was going to take it.
Well, they didn't want to take the roads.
They
if you
didn't
remember
No,
want to.
they
originally.
shouldn't,
They just
because
wanted
the
to leave.
silly developer didn't do what it's supposed to, and no one has any sympathy for developers. But I'm glad to hear that someone else other than him, because it hasn't been as bad. I've driven up there recently. It hasn't been as bad, has it? Because it used to be like a hole in the world on Regent Parkway.
It's always a hole in the world.
Oh, they
But
have.
no,
they have.
not
Our
until you
side's
get
always
past
a
the
mess.
bridge up to
Yeah.
our house.
They have one. They have one on there right now that they've patched it twice in the last week, and when every time it rains, it comes back in. But it's about
Mhm.
probably 3 feet wide, 4 foot long, and about a foot deep.
Gracious. I think it's
That's the
swallowed.
one that I have to
Virginia, while you're at
dodge.
it, why don't you get the county to take over the rest of Caprington? Someone needs to do that to save us a couple.
That'd be great.
Right?
Oh,
Can we do that?
yes.
They'll
So,
never do
You
that.
know what? They'll never do it, but I can ask.
I'll tell you
Just
why they won't
put a
do it.
wish
It's
list.
because the developer agreed with them to treat that like a parking lot, and they never did that final finishing they're supposed to do, where they were supposed to go through and reclaim it and repave it with the 2 layers or whatever and all that. So they didn't build that section to the code that the state or that the county required. So and they did it as part of the agreement, and we had no input on it because we weren't the board at that time.
Listen,
The builder board made that decision, like, oh yeah, that's fine.
If y'all could have saw how they turned over the darn neighborhood to the HOA, it was so funny.
And that's something that I probably should have said this while everybody was here, but
you.
especially the three of you guys, the Virginia, Eric, and Rob, the state that we are in is fantastic. And it's because you guys have done the work that you have done. I've only been here for 2 years, and getting a taste, just a little bit of what you all have been doing for the past almost decade is incredible. We're in a great spot because of the work you guys have done. And I'm sorry for forgetting to say that in front of everybody. I'll say it at the annual meeting though. You really do deserve the accolades, the reserve, the finances, everything has been fantastic. We have a pool when otherwise we wouldn't. That night when John came out running out there like a lunatic, I heard that story. And that choice to switch the decision that evening yielded us still having a pool. Then nobody had to get assessed. It's a big deal. And no one
Hey,
really gives
listen.
y'all credit for it.
Clarissa and Mike used to live in this neighborhood, and they own the townhome still over where you come through to Park Road extension to Park Road. So if you come to Park Road and there's a Starbucks, and before you get to the Starbucks, and there's those condos on the left, on the right hand side, the HOA let them go bankrupt.
And see, that stuff
So-
happens. And
Yes, it was a nightmare. It was a total nightmare. And their home, their property that is paid for now, it was in jeopardy because they were not cutting grass. There was nothing. The roofs need to be repaired or whatever. They had absolutely no money. None.
that's crazy. It's crazy to think about that could have been the eventuality without you guys sticking it out. So good on you. I know, Eric, you're bouncing and you've well deserved it. But I mean, look at our reserves. Look at where we are financially. That is in no small part because of the work you've done. It's awesome. So thank you guys. And I cannot believe you've been doing it for as long as you.
Hey, we need to get that accountant guy though.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin?
What's his name?
Justin Casey.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
need
thought,
to
didn't you
talk
have,
to Casey
didn't you have
like
somebody that was supposed to be
yesterday.
coming tonight?
Huh?
Yeah, I think that she was just listening. She was here. I can't pronounce her
Who?
name, but she was here. The lady who wants to be the treasurer.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, we need to get her. If she's gonna do that, she needs to go with Eric because Eric's a pain in the ass, but he's our pain in the ass, and he's a good
her
pain in the
background?
ass, and we're already screwed losing him.
Stand
Yeah, we're
by,
screwed
and I
anyway,
will
now.
tell you because
Eric did that. Eric did that on purpose. You know how Eric is.
Yeah,
Her
he's just in the
background-
angry HOA mood tonight. Is all it is.
Angry.
I mean, you guys have seen me get like that more than one occasion. So I
Eric,
mean, it happens.
you see, we
her
pay Eric no mind when he gets angry.
her
'Cause he'll be
background
walking
is
the dog
she is
smiling
a-
with the baby the next day, waving. Yeah, you
I
just
like
cussed
Eric
me
when
out.
he's angry.
Good morning. You just fussed me out. Good morning, Eric.
He's like, that
I
was
know
just
you hear me.
HOA, Eric.
Well, no, it's just we're just arbitrarily making rules. Like Virginia gets to expand the fence in HOA, but these people don't. And
That's what
Nobody
we've
get
always
these
done.
physical
We've
fence.
always
Hey,
arbitrarily.
We didn't
made
say
rules.
she
Eric.
couldn't. She can do it.
Eric, you approved it.
I don't know that he did. You talking about that? Are you talking about her fence? Your fence? He might
Yes.
have. Who knows?
He did. He approved my fence. I didn't tell
I think
everybody on the
I think
call.
I think
he
it
did
comes
that.
down to what fights we're willing to fight, and that and Eric's not wrong when he's like, we never gone after anybody, but Boyce is right to kind of just have a conversation like, would you guys be willing? And most people are not Mark Bolton. Most people are like those folks where they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't want to cause trouble. I don't want no trouble. What can I do that'll make everybody happy? And then there's gonna be those guys who are jerks, and if we have to deal with them, we have to deal with them. But I mean, most of them resolve themselves in time. If that's one thing that we've learned from 10 years on the board, it's that most things resolve themselves in time. I've
they
not
do.
seen anything yet that we had to go full on Babylon that didn't just it'll sort itself out. It's not
But
that
I
big a deal.
will
And
be the person when I sell my property to tell them this is not all your yard. This is natural area in the back.
I signed
No,
this
but
paper
There's a
saying
fence
you
around it.
understand that.
nobody will ever come looking for it. I mean, it's like Eric was talking about that like a space for his dogs or whatever, nobody probably even noticed.
No,
They
yeah.
probably never
nobody's
even
going back
care.
in your backyard and look for that.
Unless you
Listen,
pissed off
check
one of
this
your
out.
neighbors.
The kids appreciate this hill when it snows. They come in my backyard and slide down it the whole time. Even though half
well,
of
there you
that
go.
hill does not belong to me.
All right.
All sorts of stuff.
Sorry, guys. I drank all this. I gotta pee. I gotta go.
All right.
Ashley, thank you for being here.
Hold on one second.
She stuck around. I don't know if y'all noticed. She
You still
stayed.
here,
She didn't
Ashley? You're
have
still
to.
here?
Yeah, we didn't tell her to go. She just stayed. She
Yeah,
always
Ashley's
stays.
going.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good night, folks. I gotta
Good
go.
night, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Thanks.
See you.
Night, everybody.
bye-bye.
Night, angry Eric.
Bye, Eric.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, I'm just getting off of HOA meeting.